Well, it's Bad Wheelie here. Beautiful April day, sun is shining. Wonderful day for motorcycle riding. Well, today's ride is going to take us out through Southwestern Pennsylvania and into the Panhandle of West Virginia. We'll be heading up towards an interesting site just outside of Moundsville, West Virginia, and we'll head down to a small town called Cameron. And then we'll return back to Western PA, Washington County area. So we're moving along. We're moving down 221 in Western Pennsylvania. And now we're heading out toward West Virginia. Beautiful day for a ride. Really blue sky, couldn't ask for better weather. Barely any green on the trees, but the grass has been growing nicely. It's been pretty warm over the last couple of weeks, and we've been able to really get our ground cover to really green up nicely. Well, we're in West Virginia now, in a little town called Bethany, home of Bethany College. Bethany, population less than 1,000 people. Now we're getting off the pavement into some nice dirt. The nice thing about this time of the year is even when it's dry, you still don't get too much dust out of these dirt roads. They can get really, really nasty around July, August when you haven't had rain for several weeks. Unfortunately, it does look like I got a little bit of dust on the lens here. Just a problem when the sun is glaring right into the camera. So there are four of us. We picked up one rider just in Bethany, and looks like I'm the only person not on a BMW today riding the Invincible 2007 KLR. A lot of these little communities in West Virginia that are just a couple of houses along a country road. So I've got about 30,000 miles on this KLR. It's been remarkable. This thing always starts no matter how long it's been sitting. And despite the debate, I've got a lithium battery in this thing that I've had for over 5 years. It's never failed me. A lot of nice twisties as we head down to the bottom of a hill here and head toward a very popular area for riding UTVs and quads. It'll be interesting to see how many people are actually out today, given the stay-at-home orders in both Pennsylvania and to some extent in West Virginia. Well, a few quads here and there, UTVs,
I've never done that. What's down there?
side-by-sides.
Oh, okay.
Actually quite a few. It's pretty nice. Even got some Jeeps out running along the riverbed here. We're kind of curious how deep this is. We're a little worried that it might, because of some rain we had earlier, it might be too deep. But I think judging what we're seeing here with this side-by-side coming across now, it's not too bad. It's always shallower here a little bit to the right.
That's you.
Oh! A little slippery. Plowing through on the KLR today. See how our friend is doing on his big bike, his GS 1200. Just fine, of course.
Well,
Well, riding out of that holler here to head up to the top of the hill. Little sound effect in the background from my phone. I guess I got it. Couldn't ask for a bluer sky. I think the weather today, I think it's high 60s, low 70s. Perfect day for a ride. This is a great road. The last time I was on this road, they just put down fresh gravel. And it was kind of soft because of that. But all that's really got pounded into the road there. Now we're coming up here in a little community in West Virginia, outside of Moundsville. That's kind of a Krishna community. The Palace of Gold is at the top of this hill. I honestly don't know whether this is a commune or whether it's just a temple. You can see the elephant off to the right there. Unfortunately, judging by the empty parking lot, I'm guessing that the main area down below is closed, and sure enough, it's roped off, so we won't be able to venture down. However, at the top of the hill here is the entrance to the Palace of Gold. So this is where we come to the reason for titling today's ride, the Winnebago Incident. So this particular area, this particular community was founded by a gentleman named Kirtanananda. He lost his grip on this commune here around September 1993 in what was then referred to as the Winnebago Incident, where he was accidentally discovered in a very compromising position with a young male Malaysian disciple. So that's a little bit of the history of how this ride is being referred to as the Winnebago Incident. Subsequent to that event, Kirtanananda, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, went on to get into all kinds of trouble with the law. He ended up relinquishing leadership there. Whether that was relinquished or taken away from him, I don't know. But nonetheless, he left. Well, now we're coming into the town of Cameron. It's really fascinating to see some gigantic vehicles on some of these old roads, many of which I think were put in place to support the coal industry. And here you see up ahead an enormous crane trying to make a left-hand turn out of Cameron. They're making an effort to close off the road as much as they can. But this truck driver certainly deserves a lot of credit for navigating that left turn down below. As you can see, it's a extremely big crane. Well, we've had enough of waiting and watching, so we're going to head down into Cameron. So we're heading into Cameron. Total area of this town, it's pretty small. It's less than a square mile. It's probably, actually it has less than 1,000 folks living in the town right now. And it was named after a gentleman by the name of Samuel Cameron, who was a railroad worker. Interestingly, it has a number of historical sites, and this was a hotspot for the Socialist Party of America in the early 1900s. So we're looking for one particular landmark here in Cameron that is really, really, really fascinating. And I think we found it here. And it's the Cameron, there's another interesting building. It's the Cameron Public Pool. And really some interesting history about this pool.
Yeah. 1939, semi-circular pool.
So it was built for the city of Cameron back in the 1930s, and it is unique in that it is a semicircular pool, and fascinatingly, it has an underwater lifeguard observation unit. Here you can see them bringing it back to life after it was shut down in 2008 and it reemerged and reopened in 2013. It actually, around the perimeter of the pool, is intended to have sand, and sand was brought in from, I believe, Western Michigan to support kind of a beach-like setting around the perimeter of that half circle. Well, here we are now, just kind of cruising through Cameron, checking out the town. So we decided to venture up a hill that was distinctive for the area. It looked like a major road with homes in it. Homes are older, many of which are dilapidated, but tight together. This must have been a popular street. I would have hated to have had to walk up and down this street too many times in the course of a day. At the top of the street, what is really fascinating is there's a house that I believe was called the Old Mansion. And it looks like it sold maybe only a few years ago for a whopping price of something under $37,000. It must have been somebody of importance at one time, but it must have really become dilapidated to sell at a price that low. But of course the road turns into a dead end, into a farm, a couple of farming structures, so we turn around.
So that was better than most.
There's what view of the pool we were able to get. Couldn't see much through the fence, a little bit there. Interesting, pool set up with diving boards and slide. Pretty nice. Well, here we are at Greg's Market in Cameron. It was the only grocery type store we saw in the area. And we decided to have some lunch there. And then I thought I'd take a little poke around back and see what was happening. It's always interesting to get along these small creeks, kind of off the main road. It's almost like a frontage road down below by the water. Fascinating to see the residential homes intertwined with some industry. Hooking back up with the main road here. I'm going to head back down to meet up with the guys that I'm riding with. Honestly thought they were behind me, but it looks like they didn't venture in as far as I did. And doubled back. They're probably wondering how I got to the point I'm at. So we headed out of Cameron. Venturing up the hill, we stumbled onto a very large cemetery. And we decided to take a little ride through this fairly vast cemetery that covers a hillside and the top of a hill. Really seems to go on almost forever. Don't know for sure, assuming this is the home or the house for whoever it is that maintains the cemetery. Alternatively, it could just be somebody who has a very reclusive location for their home. Probably not the best place to live in the event of a zombie outbreak. It does have sort of a Night of the Living Dead sort of feel to it. Although that's in another part of this area Pennsylvania. That was done. Now we're heading back out of Cameron again, heading up the hill in the direction of Pennsylvania. Found a little place called Jackdown. Thought that was kind of neat. Pennsylvania. I honestly don't know exactly where the state line is or was. I think if I look closely at these license plates, they're Pennsylvania plates, so I think we're back in PA. See here, we're at the end of the day as the sun is going down behind us. Riding through Claysville on famous US 40, or also known as the National Pike, running through Pennsylvania. Couple folks then turning off, heading home as I continue back to my home. And that really wraps up the ride. It's a beautiful day for riding. Dad Wheelie out.